We typically start a project from within File Explorer. On the right click, we can create a new project using a PDM template. This one's been configured to pick from a project list in PDM. Red fields are mandatory. It's got a contract number and also a descriptive project name. Optionally, you can also add a further description as well as design office, customer details, although you can shape what's asked for on that particular project card. This creates a folder complete with all of the variable information from PDM, and it also creates a project file as well. If we look on the revisions tab, we can see it's gone in at Rev A. We've got a reason for change and a change note, obviously date created, listed. Directly from File Explorer, we can right click and edit that project, and that will load it up within our SOLIDWORKS Electrical software and into our electrical database. We can see when we're viewing the project within SOLIDWORKS Electrical that the revision footer is blanked out. There's no information visible. However, we can see this from PDM or via the show card command within Electrical just to view exactly what revision this particular project is on. The revision data will be filled in on check-in, which we'll see a bit later. So I'm now making some changes to the design. In this case, just dragging in a macro, numbering some wires. This process could happen for a day, a week, but essentially we recommend that you check in regularly because that's going to be your backup that goes into PDM. And I'm just showing here that we have some cables and parts which are assigned from our electrical database into this schematic as well. So whenever you're ready to check in the project, we can use our PDM ribbon tab, choose to check in, and this is going to put into PDM a PDF file as well as the BOM file as well. And this is all controlled by the administration console. So whatever you've set in here as an admin to be exported. So I've got a global BOM with parts and cables, as well as various property mappings and file outputs, file names. The PDF here you can also see with an appropriate file name as well. So that should all be done before go live. So that's being added to PDM, and we'll be prompted to check in these files shortly. And we can select all of them in one go to be added into our PDM vault. Comments are optional in this vault, although you could actually make that mandatory if you preferred. That's been deleted now from our projects manager, so it's completely removed. So the only way to get hold of that project now is to view it in PDM, so it gives us a nice controlled workflow. If we refresh File Explorer, we can see we've now got those other two output files, one of which is our PDF, which has now been stamped with the same revision information as the project file. And we can even preview in PDM, and we can now see that the revision data is there, and it's all synchronized with the PDM information, so including status, revision, date created, etc. all on there. Also, we've got the BOM file. So this is the first time that PDM has seen the project. So we've only got the first version here, but you can see parts and cables which are all included within that bit of materials. Next step is going to be to change state on the project file. So depending on our PDM workflow that's been set up, and this is our standard PDM workflow for electrical files that we typically work with, we've got a work in progress state, pending checking checked, pending approved approved, and then a new release workflow to take things back to revision B, revision C, etc. So here I've got quite a few options being logged in as admin. So I'm going to skip the check phase and submit for approval. And by doing this on the project file, it keeps everything synchronized together. So the PDF, the BOM file, is actually moving forward with the project file, and they all move forward together. You can now see the checked stage has been skipped, which is marked on all three data cards for all three file types. We could then, as we're admin, self-approve our project. But again, that's something you could configure in your PDM vault to stop happening. We can now see that all the files move through to approved. So looking at the file types here, if we look at the contains of the TUZIP. You can see that is the parent. So we have got there the PDF file and the BOM file, which are on the same approved state. We can also see that the PDF is now all updated to show the latest approved date and person that did it. So everything's maintained, including this A2 sheet as well, which is also stamped. So as part of the implementation, you will also receive something called our PDF task, which will basically work on transitions in your PDM vault. So you could have it just on approved, you could have it every step of your workflow being updated. And we also have fonts, sizes of fonts, obviously for each variable, that are mapped into that PDF sheet. We can even do it based on other sheets as well. So the A2, which is sheet 5, has got different XY coordinates, different font heights that are used. The PDF stamp is great if you can guarantee the size of sheet really, or which sheets are which size in a project. Making a design change now, we've decided that we've missed off a circuit here, so we're going to action that on the project file, move that through to new release, and all of our other outputs move with it again. And it's all moved through to revision B in this particular workflow, but that can be set to be, again, whenever you choose in your PDM vault. All of our documentation, again, is all updated, as you can see. So making the design change is as simple as we saw earlier, just a right click option, and we can then edit in SOLIDWORKS Electrical. So what that will do is it'll load it back up within our electrical client. In my case, it's on my local machine. This could be, though, being moved to your electrical shared server, and then you could collaborate amongst different users and then check in the project where all the design changes are finished. But it must be the same person that checked it in, that did the checkout initially. You could even have the electrical 3D changes happening as well, obviously at a similar time. So here we've made some changes, hit checked in again, and it's going to go through and update the changes. Again, comments at the moment are optional, but we'll just add a brief on there for the history in PDM. And that's again going to delete it from our projects manager, update it all within PDM. So that's the place to go to view this project going forwards. So looking at the files again, if we look at the project file, the history this time, you can see all those comments, all the transitions are all saved within the history. And we can even roll back or compare between different versions if we need to, if permissions allow in PDF. Again, the BOM file is updated. This time we have got some useful information to compare between different versions. So we'll click our compare tool. You can see green denotes new items, orange would be modified, red would be deleted. So you've got really good visibility there by using that BOM tool. You can even search for a particular part, look up obviously what project, what part has been used on. And again, the PDF is all up to date with the design changes. Now I just want to show you an option to check out all of the files and then to add a change note number as well as a description for the change. And there's various ways we can do this within PDM. This is one of them. Quite a simple approach, just to type in manually what the change note is and what's happened. Check in the files, and that will now mean that we can transition the project through to approved for revision B. If we didn't do that step, we wouldn't have these two values filled in, therefore it would have stopped us at the next step. But again, we can see all files are all representative with that same information. So now when we go through to change state on our project, push it through to approved, everything's moving through with it. You can also just about see on there that obviously parts within the BOM, those virtual part files in PDM, we haven't got permissions to check them out. So on the check-in, check-out, we're not dealing with those files. And again, and ultimately here you can see that the PDF is all up to date with that data. Just to finish off, I just want to show you that when we open this up within a tool like Adobe, you do still get all of the document thumbnails. So you can actually click on these bookmarks and they will open the sheet. You can also view the components as well throughout your project. So that could be your locations, your components, and that would drill down to those exact components.